far, it looks, based on what Dale said, it looks like that there will be, and he's there now, Santa Claus is there. It looks like maybe 601 classes.
How many?
3 is what Dale said. That's what I think are registered so far. I just know that there's 10 students that have enrolled into my shell so far.
Yeah, we met Wednesday, and there's the potentiality of 3 and 2, but we won't make but 2 and 1. You know how that phantom, they show all that number, that this is how many, but then we don't ever get the ones. It looks like we'll probably have 3 full classes. I do not believe that we will. You know, they've upped the numbers so high now that, you know, we'd have to have more than 30 regular 601s before we'd split. We'd have to have more than 30, and we would have to have 25 before we'll open another section of add-ons. So it looks like we'll have about, I'm guessing we'll have about 75 this spring, and so they'll make us put them in three sections, and so that's.
But you know, Dale, that sounds like, and I know you don't have any control, but that sounds like numbers in undergrad classes.
Yep.
I don't think they understand the amount of grading, and I mean,
they don't want to. They're about the money.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Well, Phyllis, I will tell you, because of how it was done, Kathy and I and Robin have taught, it truly, out of the 9 years I've been working, it was the hardest semester I have ever worked with 601 students this semester. It was challenging. And I don't normally say that, but it was challenging.
Yeah, the numbers are, you know, are higher and higher and higher. As undergraduate numbers continue to dwindle, this is the only way that, you know, they can make money, is to continue to do this. And so the faculty chair at the faculty meeting Wednesday was encouraging the undergraduate, what do they call those people who work with the students? Their advisors, to contact. They said they had 70 continuing students that had not had an advising session and enrolled in the spring, and that Friday they were going to start dropping schedules from students who did not pay their bill this fall. And so I had lunch with Tubbs on, I guess it was Friday. I had lunch with Tubbs, and he said that it appeared that they would be down, of the ones that came in the fall, that they were going to be down more than 100 of those on the undergraduate side that won't be returning. So knowing that, we could have 100, and I still don't think we'll have but 3 sections. They just, I mean, you know, they've got to make their margin up somewhere. And I know that's not a lot of money, but they act like paying a salary is all the money they have. And they can't waste money fast enough in other areas, but boy, they cut you to the penny on salaries. And they've also, by the way, upped the prorated deal as well on the doctoral side. And so you got to have 10 to start, and used to be when it got to 5, if, you know, from dropouts on the doctoral side, when it got to 5, they prorated you, cut your salary in half. Now, then it went to 6, now it's 7. So if you don't have at least 8, you get a half a salary when you teach a doctoral class now. And so tough times. And so, but that's all in reaction to the smallest undergraduate class that they've had in 21 years or something like that. Back to, sometime they've lost, since 2006, they've lost 950 undergraduates. And so as that continues, that trend continues, they're squeezing us on the other end. That's just the notion.
Santa, my grandchildren just noticed you. We were sitting
I
here
saw
having dinner.
that.
They just noticed. They can't, I have my earbuds in, they can't hear you. Yep, that's Santa.
The real Santa?
The real Santa, yes. Now he's watching, so sit down and eat.
Control.
Yeah. All right. So I'm still with you. Danny and Robin are here, so we'll go ahead and start our business here. Thank y'all for being with us. Mark, it's good to see you as always.
Kathy said she was going to try to join in, but she was having to get back from another meeting somewhere.
Yeah, and so I want to talk about 601. Robin's going to have the 601 masters this time. Y'all want to run those together like you normally do your regular classes? I'd like to. So the question is we'll have them come to Thursday night sessions and do the things that we normally do with the add-ons, the 12-month people. Now, my question is do you think we ought to try to pace them the same as well and have them do the AppSell and the AppTell their first semester?
Well, if anybody can do it, Robin can.
Now,
So these folks will be coming 5 semesters, is that right?
that is correct.
So what do they typically in 602, do they typically do their AppTell?
They typically do the AppTell in 602, but at some point along the way, let's see, fall, spring, summer, fall, spring, somewhere along the way, we have to double them up. And so just like the 603s that I had this time in the regular 5-semester program, I doubled them up in 603. So they did the AppSell in 601, the AppTell in 602. I doubled them up in 603, so they did the OMA and Skip. So in the spring in 604, they just have to do the CAP, and then they just have to do the PSYOP in the summer. There's
Might run them off though in 601 if they've got 2.
Well, that's what I'm thinking is we've been waiting down the road, but we can't wait till we got to get out of the habit of waiting until the last semester, especially those that are going to finish in the summer, like the group that's in 603. Now, I waited on the group, and so now the group that's in 604, I doubled them up this semester as well. And they're finishing in the fall, but all they've got to do in the fall is just the SOP and obviously their competency folio. We like for those to be better than they've been previously. And so that's a pretty big deal. So what I like is by the time that they get to 605, that they've only got the SOP left. I don't like for them showing up in 605 having the CAP SOP and the competency folio, because you know what happens on the SOP. They just pile it all together, send me 300 pages because they don't have time to go through it and write it the right way. Or their competency folio is just a bunch of random garbage that is completely unacceptable. The only way that we get decent SOPs and competency folios is when they get to 605, that's all they have left. So at some point we have to double them up along the way. They've got 6 evidences in 5 semesters. I don't know that it's a good idea, as Phyllis said, to run them off. I mean, I don't know if it's a good idea to do it in 601. But at some point down the road, we have to double them up.
But if Robin doesn't tell them any differently, and
they won't know any different. That was the part I was thinking about.
They won't know the difference.
They won't know the difference. And we provide so much more support for the AppSell and the AppTell than what is provided for subsequent ones. that might be the best time to double it.
I'm thinking
agree,
that
Robin.
I'm thinking that it would be, that would be a good time to do that, is to go ahead and double them up from the very beginning. And then, and then see if we can't get them to where they can, we've got to get some more time toward the end when they can do some of these other things.
Well, I'm fine with supporting them through that. And I just think we provide so much more support in those first two that could help get them through having to do both. And they're not going to know any difference. They're just going to think that's the way it is.
And all of them are getting a full master's degree anyway, and that's all we need to say in your master's program. And if I need to talk acceleration, we just do it when we're not together with Robin.
Yeah.
Well, now, will that affect, will it filter on through then? So when people take 602, they'll be doing what? A different one than what normally has been done in 602. They won't be doing the. They'll
go ahead and we'll move the OMA.
Okay.
We'll move the OMA and the skip up. What I also want to avoid is it's a fool's errand to try to double them up in the summer. There's just not enough time in the summer to double them up. And so fall and spring, if we can double them up, that would be 4. They do 1 in the summer, 5, and 1 in the fall that's the way I want to do it. I think that's a much better deal. We just can't, if we wait to 603 to double them up, that's their summer semester. You can't get 2 out of them in the summer. Not them be anywhere near the quality that we would want them to be. There's not enough weeks you don't have enough weeks. You've only got 8 weeks in the summer, and you've got more tasks than you've got weeks.
I had to do it this summer, Dale. Remember, it was.
That's what I mean. It's a bear. We can't keep on doing that.
It was unreal.
It's some of the changes that they've made in the registrar's office and wanting to know earlier and all that, and cutting it off at 8 weeks in the summer. It's not good.
Well, and if you have 605 in the summer, that's about all you get done is the evidence.
That's exactly right. And we got to get out of that habit.
Coursework.
That's what I'm talking about. If we want to have a quality instructional summer, they can't show up in 605 owing you 2 evidences and their competency folio. You don't have time to do coursework, and the work you do get from them is not good. I mean, it's noticeably deficient. And so as we have moved into a new program evaluation system, stuff like that matters now. We started a new system this year where the quality of that work is going to be looked at more closely at the end with this new what is it? What's the name of that? Nita and Steve are here. What's the name of that program that we're putting them all in now, that you have to upload all your stuff in? Oh, I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, everything has to be migrated into a platform now. All of our data. And so it will avoid a problem down the road. So, pretty much going forward, we need to avoid having them try to do 2 evidences in the summer or 2 in their last semester. Ever how that works. And the best way to address this is just go ahead and have them do for the 5 semester people, have them do 2 in the spring, 2 in the fall, 2 in the spring, 1 in the summer, 1 in the fall, and we'll be okay. And in that case, let's see, they do 2, 2, 2, 1. That's 5. They do the 6th one in their 4th semester, and that leaves their last semester where they can actually have coursework, can do their competency folio, and do it. We can do a better job with them in 605. Weave, that's the name of it. That's the new computer platform that Gardner Webb has now bought into. It's called Weave, W-E-A-V-E. And we have to put all this data in, and we can't show a precipitous drop in our last semester data. That will not go well. But we're not going to change our grading standards. We have rubrics in TaskStream. So I'm not going to ask the evaluators to go easy on them toward the end so it won't look bad. If it's not good, it's not good. And so this will solve that problem. So what we'll do is we'll all the new classes starting in the spring will be paced exactly the same. They'll meet the same nights. They'll have 2 evidences due. And this will solve our problems going forward. When we get them in the summer, they'll do 1, and then they'll do 2 again. But we don't want to get to anywhere other than the 3 semester people that have to do 2 in the fall and do 2 in the summer. But there's no way to avoid it for them. Now, what I do with them in 603 is require 2 and get them started and try to get at least half of the cap out of them before I get done with them in the summer.
Right.
Now that's a stretch, but we try that. But we got issues, but this will address that. So let me share my screen and we'll look at the spring schedule.
And Dale, with the PSYOP in the summer, that means that probably you can pace them. You can actually start week 1 with requirements by the end of that week. You can have the PSYOP completely finished and in TaskStream by that 4th week, and that gives you plenty of time to deal with all those other things that you have to deal with, plus have instruction.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So that's what we'll do. And everybody else will be the same. So looking at this, I'm anticipating only 2. I don't believe we'll make 3. If we do, we'll make the adjustment there. We'll have 1 here, and if we make 2, we'll make the adjustment there. We've got folks, but these 4 folks will cover it no matter what we have. And then I'll have 2, the C2 and C4. Kate Maraglia will have 6, and they'll coach and do their own. Sanders and Barnes will have the 602 and 604, and then Tobias and Stone will have 605. That's what we'll go with right now. I've got a couple of you in reserve. Phyllis, you'll do the bulk of the CC1 work as usual this spring, and we'll go back to that same notion of if they're not next door, you can Zoom them. And so I'll have you doing the bulk of those, and they'll be, and when I say a bulk of, they'll be a bunch. And so between Rod and Phyllis, we'll cover the bulk of those. But if we've got some that are right next door, we'll make some visits. But the visits, it's just easier. I know it's not the best, but it's just a whole lot easier to do those virtual visits than put people out on the road forever. And they don't want to pay the travel, and they definitely don't want to pay hotel.
But Dale, I'll tell you from past experiences, asking them what they would rather for us to do, they've come to the conclusion lately that they just rather do the Zoom anyway.
Yeah.
They just, I guess they've gotten used to it since the COVID.
They have. And the principals definitely want to Zoom.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the feedback that we've got from them. Lord have mercy. That I have not had one tell me in the last year that they want another meeting face to face.
Well, you actually get a more quality CC1 visit because you're scheduled and they have to stop what they're doing and give you attention. Whereas if you're waiting, they can keep having you to wait.
Yeah, and then people coming in and out. I don't know, but Rod's right. they on their end, they're choosing 100% virtual. And so unless it's somebody just next door and they just dying to have one, we'll just Zoom those things.
Well, most of the time you got principals now that they know what's going on and,
Yeah.
and they're not being ugly to us by Zooming. They're just understanding what's going on and what the quote little bit that they've got to do for this.
Yeah.
And as long as they, I know a couple of semesters ago, we had a situation where that survey, we had a principal that didn't enjoy that, but now we're stressing that.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the biggest problem we've had with the principal.
Yeah.
Which brings a question. We're still portfolio. We're not a test yet.
We're still a portfolio. That is correct.
Is that still in the works, in the pipeline, or?
Well, until.
I hope it goes away.
Well, the waiver was for 2 more years to allow programs to catch up and do some things with their add-on programs. We went ahead and bit the bullet, and but in the fall of 24, it will be exam. Now we will still continue with the portfolio. We'll just add the exam like we've done for the South Carolina people. So please remember, the folks who are South Carolina, they have to take the exam and the portfolio. The North Carolina people, please remember that even in 2 years, they still have to do the portfolio. That requirement will not go away. They're just adding the exam like South Carolina did. So it won't change anything that we do. Now it does change who we take. Now that's one of the things that we've got to remember is one of the reasons why our numbers are down is we went ahead and bit the bullet and went with the new requirements for admission. Got to talk 4 years rather than 3 by the time you got done with the program. Now you've got to talk 4 to get in. We also gone with the notion that you have to have a teacher's license. Well, you say, well, Dale, everybody, no, you had to have a teacher's license or a specialist license of some kind. So that knocks out all your counselors, knocks out your social workers, knocks out all your curriculum people, like facilitators and folks like that who are in technology people that don't have a A-class teaching license, knocks out psychologists, knocks them out, media specialists. So between media, counselors, social workers, facilitators, all of those are now out. You must have unless they're old school and had a teaching license and then added media to it or counselor or whatever, we can't take them anymore. And so that cost us, for just like this fall, that cost us 30 right there. That cost us 30. But we went ahead and made that decision because that's what's coming. Now, we didn't know until the first week in August that we were going to get the waiver. We had to make these decisions back in March and April when they said they were not going to give us another waiver, that this would be. So we admitted based on the new requirements. They waived them late. It's too late by then. We'd already turned those people away. But going forward, we're going to maintain, unless they're the old school where they got their teaching certificate first and they've maintained it. We're not taking counselors, social workers, librarians, technology, the IT people, the technology, the MAIT people, nor will we take a curriculum facilitator that only has a curriculum and not a teaching certificate. So those 5 areas are out unless they've got an A teaching license to go with it. And part of the problem with that too is that some of them that initially had that have let that fall by the wayside once they moved into their specialist area. And so then that portends, do they go back and get that thing renewed and then they can get in. So these are all issues that we had for the fall, but that will continue. So our numbers will be down naturally because of who can get in. I had a student the other day that replied on one of the surveys about They wish that we had a system where you could do all your coursework and then do your internship. We do, except who's going to pay for the year that you aren't working? Who's going to pay your salary? And that goes back to that alternative pathway principal fellow deal. But you know, they do that by cohort now, and we've not applied for that. Because that's another whole series of problems and issues that you get into, kind of like the Gaston group that we took. Then you get into the college, you know, the graduate folks who make the admissions decisions don't like that somebody else picked the students. And that's what happens in the TP3 and principal fellow is the district picks them. Well, that doesn't make graduate admissions happy. They don't like that. So we've not, and for that reason, we've not applied to get into that area. That would be a way that we could get some of those students back, except you have to take whoever they send, the district sends. And that has been a major fist fight, just like with the Gaston group, in that Gaston got to identify those students and not the college. And graduate admissions is still mad about that every day. They've still got the red ass over that. And that ain't going away. So, you know, I have made a command decision not to be involved in that any more than I have to be. Because it's, you know, it's either when you apply for that, you have to take them all. And if you turn any of them down, then you don't get any of them, and it becomes an issue. And if you take that grant money like High Point did, and you don't fulfill your end of the bargain on the grant, and you as a department or a college have nothing to do with that, then they jerk that out from under you like they did at High Point. High Point's not in business this year. They're going to have to sit out this year and resubmit a blueprint. But their grant got canceled. It did not get renewed, because the college itself, the folks in their equivalent of Webb Hall, where the senior administration is, did not follow through on what the contract for the grant said that they would do. So what happened there very simply is what the grant said that they would do for the amount of money to run the cohorts is they would hire full-time people. The college said, we're not doing that. We can't make enough money doing that. And so they hired one person and a bunch of adjunts. Well, when it came time for renewal, guess what happened? They didn't get renewed. Yeah, don't shed any tears for them. But there's a reason why they got all that stuff is they took several $1 million and were supposed to spend a commensurate amount on bringing in a faculty to work with these, and they didn't do that. And so, you know, you get into all these grants and all these other ways to try to make up enrollment. There's catches in all of it. Now, it's not as simple as somebody's going to send us a check. Trust me. Just like the Gaston deal, it's not as simple as it looks. And so we're just going to have to bite the bullet. I mean, we're just going to have to. We'll get what we get. But trying to get into the grant business will not solve our problem. It brings about another set of problems because there's too much in kind. Just like the Gaston group in kind, Gardner-Webb had to split the cost on that deal. They only paid half price. And so, but now we weren't required to hire any additional faculty. That was the deal. You either got to hire more faculty or you have to cut your price in half, and that's what we did with them. So they only paid half. So for the 14 from Gaston, they only paid $10,000 a piece for them, and the normal cost would be 20. But we didn't have to hire any full-time people. So there's a catch to all this stuff. And we never come in. We never come in on the right side of that bargain. We're always on the short end of the stick. But you know, our numbers are still good, considering, you know, the changes, the 5 groups that we can no longer take. Yes, that hurts us every semester. And of course, that year requirement, that hurts us as well. They've got to been in the business 2 years longer. So the young ones, some of them aren't your best ones anyway, but we're not, you know, until they're in their 5th year, we can't take them now. And we used to take them in their 3rd year. As soon as they got their 2-year initial out of the way, we could take them. We cannot do that now. So, you know, all those things rolled together means that, you know, by the time you get through and work through all that stuff, you get about half of what we one time did. So that's the outlook going forward. And those things are not going to change. That's my point, is this long-winded soliloquy. They're not going to change. We've already made our changes. We've made our bid. And so we're moving on. It was pay me now or pay me later. I'd rather pay me now. I'm just concerned about the experience that they get and the quality of what they get. Who we get, I can't worry about that. All right, so commencement Saturday. I know this is the oddest thing, but not my call. So let me go back and share my screen. So here's the deal for Saturday. So if our master's folks, they can come to the 9 o'clock ceremony, but they will not cross the stage. Only the doctorals will cross the stage and be hooded.
Dale, can I ask a question? But
Yeah.
the master's students can come with their hood and their robe and have all that on, right?
Yes, they can, and they'll just process in and process out.
Got it.
They will not get up and cross the stage. That will only be the doctoral students. And those of us who have doctoral students, we will be sitting with them. We'll come in with them somehow, and then we'll get up and go across the stage, and we hood them up on the stage, and then we process back down. And so we'll be in Boss Gym at 8, getting them all lined up and ready to go, those of us. And so we'll be doing that. And then as you can see, conferring of degrees, presentation of the candidates. The candidate, again, it's just the doctoral candidates. And so, and then for whatever reason, all of our people will process out, and then we'll wait from 10:30 or whatever it is. When the first one's over, we don't start again until 1. And we'll be back in the same place in LYCC. Now, at this one, the College of Ed, they'll all line up. They will all cross the stage again. The doctorals will cross again, I understand. They'll let them cross the second time. But all of our master's people will cross, and they'll get hooded in it. The handful of certificate people that we have, they'll get to cross as well. We'll call their name. They won't get hooded, but we'll call their name. There's about 5 of them. Now, remembering that we've got a bunch from summer as well. I don't know how many of them will show up from summer. We had about 110 or 15 from summer, and we got 40 something from this time. I've got 14 of my 15 from EDCI. I don't know if they'll come or not. They get hooded as well. And plus all the 605s. And so we've got about 150 or 60. Now, how many of them will show up? I don't know. Now, in between from 10:30 till the 1 o'clock, when we go back again, I think Dr. Bull has reserved us a couple of places to wait. I think Rich Banquet Hall underneath DCC, and I think even Blanton over in the business school in the auditorium over there. Of course, you know the weather will be bad. I don't even have to look at the forecast. I know it'll be pouring rain like out of a boot. And so that'll be the big thing is what are we going to do in the 2.5 hours in between, and then how are we going to line them back up once we go back to LYCC? I don't know. I was expecting something to come out this week, but I hadn't seen anything. So when students have been asking, I just been sending them this thing, and here's all I know. But I believe he has got, I think our folks can wait in Rich Banquet Hall and Blanton. But I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. And then he said he couldn't afford refreshments, so I don't know what they're going to do. So it doesn't seem like we have much of a plan other than hope, but I'm sure it'll be all right. But I'm hoping a big bunch of them will come back. I'm hoping we'll get to see most of them. But now I have no notion of how many will come back. I think I've got, how many? I've got 6 doctorals from the summer that I finished in the summer. And I think that's all I've got coming back. I've got a big group that's finishing. When are they finishing? I've got a big group finishing in the spring. So I don't know how that's going to go, but I think it's just, all I know is we'll figure it out once we get there on Saturday morning. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to be with 2 different groups, but I'll figure it out somehow. It'll work out. It did last time. But, you know, the problem is when you've got to be with a group of doctoral students. We have 3 different doctoral programs, and I work across all 3. And I think we have a couple more that might do that as well. So, but we'll figure that. That's not a worry for y'all. But we will have 14 EDCI doctorals from this semester who will get a master's. And so they will be a part of the ceremony as well. So about 160. Why we're having to wait when we got by far we got more than everybody else combined. Why we're having to be the one to find a place to put all these people, I have no notion. It seems to me like that we ought to just stay in there. Our folks stay in their seats. Everybody process out, and our folks come right back in since we have more than everybody else combined. But that's not what they did. I have no notion as to how that worked out. But you'd seem to think that numbers would matter, but I guess they don't. But that's what's happening Saturday. So if you're coming, I would encourage you to come to the 1 o'clock one, which is over in the basketball arena, LYCC. Go to the last exit down at the arches, right past where the Hardy used to be. Turn in where the gym complex is, all that, like the big parking lot there for the gym and the Tucker Center, that big parking lot there, and then come into LYCC. So if you want to see any of our students, your best bet would be the 1 o'clock ceremony. I'm not sure how many of ours will come for the first one since they don't get to cross the stage, but that's just, if you want to come to both, we'll be there. All right, I've done gone way past my time. I'm 5 minutes over. I appreciate all you did this semester. You know, I know it was a struggle, but I think everything went really well. We'll continue to work. I know Steve had one. I had Daryl pulled today. We're waiting on Tracy. If she gets hers in, she's got to Wednesday morning. I've been making sure all of her stuff I graded all and moved it all through today. So I think that's the only one that's graduating. We're working with one 604, Anita is, and we're working on that one. So, but I think everybody else is good. I think everybody else has got theirs through. Don't forget to turn your final grades in today, this week. Josh, you'll need to turn yours in for the internship section. If you need help with that, buzz me. But let me see if we can go in and look at that. Right, that's the last thing is grades. I want to make sure. Let me see. So normally what you do I can close that. And that. Let me switch browsers. Let's see. Manage classes, final grade. So from Web Connect, go to manage classes, final grades entry, term, fall 22, submit, and it should give you all of these. So let's see. 603, C14, O, so that's 12. So, Josh, I think this is your group right here. Let's look and see. Yeah, that would be yours. And so just go in, just like I just did. I think you're the only one that hadn't done this before. And so when you go in, let me see if I've got one. I'm gonna go to 697, 60404 has 14. So this would be it. So when you go in, yep. When you go in, go to final grade. Yep, there we go. And for internship, it's just a P. Yeah. You should be able to do what I'm doing right now with your group, Josh. The last one got hers in just, I graded it right before the meeting tonight. So all 14 of mine have both of their evidences in and graded.
Dale, you missed Daphne Jordan. Go back up.
All right. So that should be it. And then just submit. And there we go. And it doesn't tell you, it'll give you an error statement if it didn't take it. And so that's it. That's how you put your grades in for internship. And then so make sure you get all those in. I'll stop my share. And again, Josh, if you have any questions, just shoot me an email or call me. But you should be able to go in and do that. Again, Web Connect, manage classes, final grade entry, fall 22, and then it'll give you the section that you have. And again, internships pass fail. And all of ours are a pass, of course. Okay, and then everybody else will do theirs because y'all normally do them. So get those knocked out this week. Try to have them in. I think the deadline is Wednesday morning. I've got some that are putting work in now, my 603 class, but my other two are all my CDCI folks. Mandy got hers in a few minutes ago, so all that one's done. All the 604, Savannah got hers in a few minutes ago. So those two that I have had two, one in each of those sections I was waiting on today. I'm going to give our 603 section a little more time. They've bombarded me all weekend. I don't think that they'd had about half of their work in. And so I'll give them a little extra time. But everybody else should be about done. All right. Again, thank you for all you do. I appreciate it. Hope to get to see you Saturday. If I don't, I'll see you. I'll get in touch and we'll get started right after the first of the year. We'll make sure that we get you the information. Your Blackboard shell should already be there. I will be copying in the next few days. I'll be copying and getting those set up for you. Robin, I'm going to set yours. Just copy one of your old. We're going to set you up the same as if it was a regular and a 3 semester. We'll do that. And Danny, you'll get yours done and let me know, and I'll copy it over.
Well, Robin's already helped me out. Thank you, Robin. I hadn't had a chance to look at it yet, but she's already been very proactive and gotten some
Yep.
things to me. So thank you,
Yeah,
Rob.
just proofread that if you don't mind.
I will. I just haven't had time to get to it yet,
Thanks.
but I will.
It's okay,
All right.
thanks.
Sounds good. All right. Everybody have a good week. It's good to see y'all. Thank you. Merry
You
Christmas.
too, bye, Merry Christmas, bye.